Good afternoon, Muttonistas. The days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, and City's season is running into some very choppy water. It's a Tuesday in late November. It's time for another Champions League game, and today we welcome Feyenoord from Rotterdam in the Netherlands. City have lost 5 in a row. Let's hope that we put a stop to it this time. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that we are, having looked at some of the recent performances, but I really hope I'm wrong. Anyway, Muttonistas, join me for today's Matchday vlog. Now, maybe I'm being a bit unduly pessimistic because I haven't looked very closely at Feyenoord, how much pace they have in the team, which will be the key to whether they get any joy today. I have to say some of our team are so badly out of form, it's untrue. Anyway, I'm going to introduce you to a cafe bar in Levenshulme first. I'm going to have a bit of drink before the food, BIA, beer, and they are confident in the quality of their Guinness, which many of you who watch me regularly will know is something that I'm rather fond of. Obviously it can't be as good as in Ireland, I've just been in Ireland, but the staff seem to be Irish, so if they're confident in their product, probably means it's pretty good. And I've seen customers with an Irish accent walking in. High hopes for this pint, Muttonistas. And just look at that, Muttonistas. Could you squeeze an extra drop onto the top of that dome? I don't think so. And I have caught an impromptu session going on behind me. Had no idea this was going to happen. In fact, the management had no idea this was going to happen. That is a good sign at an Irish pub, and I believe Sundays are a good day to catch these sessions. And another good piece of news, the line is incredibly short. The barrel is just under the bar, so another good sign. Now, the last pint I've had a dry week, was at the Gravediggers in Dublin last Tuesday evening, so it's a little bit unfair to compare that, but as you know, Muttonistas, when I call something a creamer, an absolute creamer, decent, good, poor, whatever, there's a different scale for Guinness outside of Ireland. So as I said, Muttonistas, I am going to do the food segment a bit later. I'm not that hungry, I had a big breakfast, but anyway, this is full of vitamins, particularly vitamin G, and might be enough to nourish me before the game anyway. Well, the management were very, very right to be confident of their product here. This is very good. This is a creamer. I can't call it as good as the Gravediggers, of course, but if you're in Manchester, you aren't going to go to too many places with a better pint than this. Right, Muttonistas, little change of scenery for my football talk and hopefully a food segment. The Edinburgh Castle, which I went to briefly just for a quick pint once before. I think it might have been the Watford game or something like that. But I had their chip butty, and that was so good for such a simple piece of food that I think their food menu requires a bit more investigation. I was pretty satisfied I'd been served a creamer last time, so let's hope it's the same again. Okay, Muttonistas, a bit of a double whammy here. No food on Tuesdays. I didn't do my homework. I was here on a Wednesday last time. And there's a problem with the Guinness line, which means I'm going to have a Murphy's. But I know a lot of you constantly froth at the mouth because I don't drink enough Murphy's. So here you are, a quick Murphy's review before I go and find some food. So here we are, Muttonistas, a pint of Murphy's at the Edinburgh Castle. Let's give it a go, and I'll talk about the football after I've had the first sip, because the team news is now out. Yes, that's not bad at all, a fair representation of Murphy's, but don't forget the reason it's not my favourite stout is because it is a little bit sweeter. But if you like Murphy's, no reason why you shouldn't come here. So before I actually go on to the actual team tonight, Muttonistas, the problem for me is there to see. There's nothing in midfield without Rodri especially, but also now Kovacic is out as well. So I think more defensive-minded players are needed. We don't have pace. Our player who's supposed to be the pacey defender, Walker, has been all at sea, and it has reminded me of Guardiola's first season where I saw players like Kolarov, Clichy, Zabaleta just chasing shadows behind pacey counter-attacking forwards, and it's the same thing here. Big chances galore being created on the counter against us, and when we've created our chances, I'm afraid we're not firing at the other end of the pitch either. I didn't go to the Tottenham game, but I did see obviously that Haaland and Foden could have got us quite a few goals there. But let's hope that improves this evening. And we have a few players on the bench like Diaz and De Bruyne, who presumably aren't quite fit to play a whole game, but can play a bit of a cameo. Anyway, we've got Ederson at the back, we've got Akanji and Ake in the middle at the back, and we have Luiko Lewis and Josko Gvardiol. Walker appears to have lost his place here. Nunes and Gundogan are some sort of double pivot, and up front Silva, Foden and Grealish. Sensible that Bernardo's playing because he can muck back. And of course Erling Haaland, who we desperately need to get back into form up front. Anyway, let's hope this all goes well tonight. I think to get into the top 24, we just need 3 more points. It might be until the transfer window be what we have to settle for with a tough game away at Juventus coming. But to get into the top 8, I mean, 3 points is absolutely vital. I think we need 9 out of 12 to get into the top 8. Anyway, let's be optimistic and hope we race back into form like this pint. Come on, City. Well, I was just about to head out for a bite, and it might have to be a very, very rushed bite, but the management here can say, oh, we've fixed the gas leak on the Guinness tap, so a pint of Guinness has been procured. However, the start of the pint is going to be reserved for my Instagram viewers. I'll be back with you in a few ticks. Okay, Muttonistas, such has been the hospitality at the Edinburgh Castle that I've had to ditch the food segment. I'm being nourished by Guinness itself, and, well, there's half an hour till kick-off, so this is a totally irresponsible pint, but I'm having it anyway. And as always, Muttonistas, that swiftest of swift halves before the game, because I don't listen to that evil UEFA anthem. Okay, we're off and running here, Muttonistas. Something a bit unusual. A lot of police in the home end here. I hope that doesn't mean that there has been a number of unsavoury incidents beforehand, or that it's a precursor for any. Go on, Bernardo. Go on. Oh! Sean. Ball. Oh, Sean. Well, we're approaching half-time and City have had a few good opportunities, a couple of good saves from Feyenoord and their keeper, but I have to say it's not enough. It's too slow, too predictable. And at the other end, well, Feyenoord have looked toothless until the last few minutes when they've had a couple of good forays. So maybe the balance of the team is a bit better today. Well, Haaland could have hit the ball first time in terms of the chance that led to the penalty, and then there was a fairly clear foul afterwards. So let's hope, even though he's out of form, that he sticks this one away. We really do need this. Well, just a minute or two before half-time, just what we needed. 1-0 City. Come on, City, just get another one and put this game out of reach. It's been a long time, I think Sparta Prague at home, before I've been able to relax and see City go a couple of goals in front. Good, convincing penalty now. Right, Muttonistas, half-time, City 1, Feyenoord 0. Not the most exciting game I've seen. It all seems a bit flat. Feyenoord very, very unambitious. 4-5-1 a lot of the time. And even when they get the ball in transition, they're not able to spring forwards, thankfully, because that has been what has been doing us in. Still problems at the forward business end of the pitch, not putting chances away, but thankfully that foul on Haaland has given us the lead through the penalty. Stuck away very nicely. I'm going to cut this off now because A, I want a pint, and B, my battery's running low and I need to stick something in to recharge it. Come on, City. Unfortunately, Muttonistas, the blog went a bit pear-shaped at this point. I'd switched off my microphones at half-time to conserve power. My power bank wasn't working for some reason, and as the third goal went in, I had forgotten to switch them back on, and I was just a bit slow trying to cover the third goal. I should have got it. Anyway, at 3-0, it all seemed comfortable, plain sailing. The match went actually quite dull apart from two good chances City had to make it 4 or 5-0. Feyenoord did hang in there, and when they got a goal back, at which point some Feyenoord fans cheered and sang a couple of songs and were unfortunately ejected. I hope there was nothing untowards that happened to them there. We just thought it was a sloppy consolation goal, and that, well, we've seen this 100 times from City, but there was more sloppiness to come. 3-1 then became 3-2. I'm afraid Ederson wasn't covering himself in glory, and Gvardiol made a couple of howlers. Well, I feared the worst, and we rejoined the action at 3-2 with about 7 or 8 minutes to play. Well, Muttonistas, this vlog has been a disaster and this game has been an absolute disaster. How have we let that slip? Well, it really does look like it's going to be the round of 32 or 24 for City after that. That is horrible, absolutely horrible. And there were police in here with good reason. There were some Feyenoord supporters in here. They were actually quite well behaved, but had they been in there for that, well, who knows what would have happened. So maybe the stewards did a good job in asking them to leave. Again, they weren't causing any trouble, but they were singing Feyenoord songs. Oh! Deary, deary me, what a shocker that was. And first of all, of course, as always, well done to Feyenoord. They hung in there and they did what they had to do. I know they were City mistakes that led to the goals, but still, you have to keep trying and not give up. And there were a few Feyenoord supporters in the City end, and even as we left, I heard some people speaking Dutch. I don't have a big problem with that myself, but if the people who were thrown out are watching, well, it's because the stewards are instructed to do that if anybody cheers the away team. And I have to say, had they gone up and understandably got very emotionally involved at 3-3, then there might have been some people, City fans, who would behave inappropriately. So anyway, at least I hope that everybody from the Netherlands who's come over to the game has enjoyed the game, a stunning result, and had a good time. Now on to the rest of it. I mean, at 3-0 up, City were cruising and cruised too much, I think. The game went very, very dull, and then we started getting sloppy. Very, very sloppy. No intensity, and you'd have thought after 5 losses in a row that the players would want to drive this one through and get it over the line, but they were incapable of doing so. Guardiola, particularly bad, sometimes great going forwards, but I mean this was not good. This was not good. 2 bad mistakes. Edison charging out as well. Well, it's not for me to pick the bones out of this. Football experts and the manager can do so, but it's made it clear to me there needs to be a big reset. There needs to be a big investment in transfers because recent windows have not been good enough. And obviously players, even who I criticised a bit like Mahrez, have not been adequately replaced. Okay, yes, we have a lot of injury problems. The midfield is non-existent. But Gundogan seems to have fallen off a cliff. Nunes just, in my opinion, isn't good enough to be a starter for City. And I know a lot of you like Rico Lewis, but he's too small and he gets muscled off the ball. He plays a lot of safe passes backwards and sideways, understandable given his place in the squad. But if the others aren't playing well enough around him, he falters as well. A lot of people were talking about what it needs to get into the last 8 to avoid the playoff round. I have to say, I'd be more worried about missing the playoff round completely. I think we need to beat Club Brugge at home. Maybe by the time we get to play PSG, we'll have got some more players fit and brought some more players in, and maybe the team's playing better. But I can't see us getting anything at Juventus away, which I'll be going to. I think we're going to get dicked by Liverpool on Sunday. I mean, our paceless defence who are making errors, are they really going to do well against Liverpool's ultra-fast counter-attacks? I think not. And indeed, so many things went wrong with this vlog. I wasn't at the races today that I thought about binning it, but given the spectacular result, I thought I'd better had. First of all, there was no food segment. I didn't plan very well. I am actually a bit tired from months of vlogging and making Instagram reels. And of course, I didn't capture the second and third goals because I was meeting friends I hadn't seen for a long time. Didn't look like it would matter particularly, and then I forgot to switch my microphone on, put it on at the end, but I got to the end of it fortunately. And I am actually going to have a dry December. A little bit unusual, I know, but my life does not revolve around public holidays, so I'm going to do that. And so this is actually my last vlog with alcohol for a while. I have pre-recorded some food segments for the home games against United and Nottingham Forest. I'm not going to Liverpool away, and I might have a glass of wine or two for the Palace and Juventus away games. So, time to love you and leave you again, Muttonistas. Hopefully City can turn the corner. I suppose it wasn't another loss at least, but it was very, very disappointing and felt like a bad loss. As I said, I'll be going to Palace and Juventus away, home to Forest and home to United in the derby. Not sure we're actually going to get anything out of that the way we're playing. But until then, please remember to keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. But most of all, don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.